So good to have you join us today on this edition of Business Daily. Coming to you live from Seoul, I'm Lee Se-dol. We have plenty on our plate today, so let's get started with a glimpse of the day's highlights. As Korea's household debt continues to hit a record high, the government announces a new set of measures to put a dent in growth with a fresh approach. The world would be a very different place without intellectual property. Not only does it make our lives more convenient, it also spurs growth and creates new jobs. We sit down with the head of the World Intellectual Property Organization to talk more about the importance of protecting IP. The Korean government has introduced a number of fresh measures to get household debt levels under control. Earlier policies have tapered growth in some areas, but mortgages continue to fuel the debt pile, which hit another record high. Our Shin Se-min starts us off.
Curbing the supply of housing. It's a fresh approach the Korean government will take in hopes of containing the soaring household debt levels rapidly driven by mortgage loans. Heavier restrictions will be placed on the approval of residential property, and the number of new apartments built by the state-owned Korea Land and Housing Corporation will also be scaled down.
The government will address concerns about an oversupply of housing by reducing land for residential property and strengthening guarantee measures, which will help manage each step in the supply of homes.
Tightening the leash on so-called collective loans is another cornerstone of its new debt control measures. The government says it plans to slow the pace of these loans offered to new apartment homeowners, which have relatively lax screening requirements. Earlier measures, which tightened the guidelines for screening loan applicants this year, excluded collective loans. But the growth in these loans took up almost half of the increase in mortgages in the first half of the year from the end of last year, calling for more restrictions. These fresh approaches come as the country's household debt hit its record high of 1,258 trillion won, or $1.1 trillion as of the end of June this year, the largest figure tallied since the data was first collected in 2002. But are these guidelines enough to tackle the source of the country's ever-growing household debt? Not exactly.
Measures that can alleviate employment problems as well as increase personal incomes are considered some of the more fundamental cures to the growing household debt problem, as this is directly linked to managing potential borrowers.
Adding that it'll take some time to see the effects of the new measures in curbing the skyrocketing household debt, experts say this may create some difficult choices ahead for the Bank of Korea. Despite the country's heavy debt burden, facing fragile domestic spending, slumbering global growth, added with the looming U.S. federal rate hike, experts say that the central bank may experience some pressure down the line to further cut its rate in a bid to boost the local economy. Shin Se-min, Business Daily.
While Korea's overall exports have been on a downward trend for months, outbound shipments to Vietnam are faring relatively well. According to Korea International Trade Association, exports to Vietnam reached over $18 billion through July, up more than 10% from the same period last year. Now, this is in stark contrast to Korea's overall exports, which fell over 10% during the same period. Vietnam accounts for over 6% of Korea's exports and stands as the nation's third largest export partner. The country has quickly climbed the ranks, considering that back in 2009, it was Korea's 10th largest export partner, accounting for just about 2% of Korea's exports. The rise was attributed to more Korean companies using Vietnam as a production base, as well as a bilateral free trade deal that took effect in December. Nearly 92% of Korea's population are living in cities, which account for less than 17% of the country's landmass. The Land Ministry issued its urban planning report on this Thursday, and it found that nearly 250,000 people had moved into urban areas last year, raising their combined population to 47.3 million. Territory-wise, cities made up just 16.6% of the country's land, compared to agricultural regions, which sprawl over more than 46%. Areas designated as cities, which expanded by just 16.8 square kilometers on year last year, have consistently recorded population growth since the 1960s. Pizza Hut Korea has denied reports this week that it's preparing to put itself up for sale. But the possibility of it happening is still there, as global fast food chains have been struggling to keep up in the crowded Korean market. Our Eunice Kim has more.
Up to 40% off a pan of premium pizza. The promotion, marking the 100 millionth pie sold, was extended by another month this week, the company says, thanks to a runaway response. But industry data shows that Pizza Hut, once considered a fast food heavyweight, has been grappling with lackluster business. Sales in 2014 fell to $102 million, making up just a quarter of what was 10 years earlier. Its operating profit shifted to a loss in 2013. Just last year, the American restaurant chain unloaded 61 of its 75 directly managed outlets by passing them on to private franchise holders or closing them altogether. And though it has dismissed the report this week, the rumor that the brand, that's been around for more than 3 decades, is in the market for a new owner, has not died down. It comes as other global fast food players have been putting up a for sale sign. McDonald's is in talks with Korea's CJ Group, among others. Kentucky Fried Chicken also welcoming potential buyers. But it's unclear if they'll pull through. Korea's restaurant market has become saturated, with deregulation and the relatively cheap setup costs lowering the entry barrier and attracting both young and old entrepreneurs. Looking at franchise outlets alone, the number of eateries run by franchisees has grown by more than 26,000 in just 3 years. Those directly managed by HQ also ticked up by 4,100, pushing up the per capita count to 1 restaurant per 78.8 people. Also complicating matters are evolving eating habits and preferences as Koreans continue to move toward health-conscious options available at more places than before. Eunice Kim, Business Daily.
AlphaGo, a program developed by Google's DeepMind unit, sealed a 4-1 victory over legendary Go grandmaster Lee Se-dol back in March, showing just how far artificial intelligence has come. The advances in information technology, including everything from AI to augmented and virtual reality, to the digitalization of goods through 3D printing, continue to change people's daily lives. And with that comes the importance of protecting intellectual property, or IP, especially at a time when the world is getting ready to usher in the 4th Industrial Revolution. Intellectual property also plays a big role when it comes to boosting a country's economic competitiveness. In fact, many industries in advanced and developing economies rely heavily on their patents, trademarks, and copyrights, explaining why we're seeing a growing number of related lawsuits filed by global IT companies like Samsung, Apple, and Huawei. So then, what can Korea do to become a leader in IP, and how is the world moving forward in the promotion and protection of intellectual property? We sit down with Francis Gurry, Director General of the World Intellectual Property Organization, for more.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Director General Gurry.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. So we're now seeing the 4th Industrial Revolution powering the rise of robotics, artificial intelligence, and the virtual economy. And with that comes the importance of protecting intellectual property rights. So you have led WIPO as Director General since 2008 after being reappointed to a second 6-year term back in 2014. So over the years, what kind of projects has WIPO worked on to, help countries protect intellectual property rights? And also, what is your vision as the Director General?
Well, ideas, innovation, and creative works are highly mobile. So they need to be protected in more than one country. So one of the things the organization does is provide systems to enable innovators and creators to get protection in more than one country. We have about 220,000 international patent applications filed with us each year, 50,000 international trademark applications, international designs, and a huge number of course, creative works are protected under our framework. We make rules for the international system to ensure a level and fair playing ground. We have various infrastructure projects, IT platforms and so forth. And then we have an important program in help building the capacity of developing countries to use and participate in the intellectual property system in innovation and in the creative industries.
Now, can you tell us more about how much an impact intellectual property can have on a country's economy?
Huge, and more in the knowledge economy. So really it's the basis of competitive advantage. Why do people buy a particular product? Because it has some new features, it has some distinguishing features from all others. So it's the basis of the competitive edge that an enterprise can have, that an industry can have, and indeed that a country can have over other countries in the global trading arena.
Now, we are seeing a growing number of global companies around the world fighting these IP battles to protect their patents, copyrights, and trademarks, to just name a few. So where do you see this global IP battle headed in the future?
Well, more and more of it, I would say, because there's a heightened appreciation of the value of innovation. Everyone is conscious now that innovation adds value, it contributes to economic growth, it improves our quality of life, it enables us to address major global challenges like climate change, health. That being the case, I think more and more countries are focused on innovation as a central piece in their economic and industrial strategy. And so countries seeking to protect their advantage that they have through innovation are naturally going to do that through their particular form of warfare, which is litigation.
Now, we hear, though, that there's a lot of time and cost involved in fighting these IP battles, and there are worries that excessive court conflict could actually lead to more negative side effects. So what do you think would be the role for WIPO to make sure that more good comes out of than bad from these battles?
Well, we try to promote peaceful means of dispute settlement. So we try to promote mediation between companies rather, which enable them to settle a dispute without sterilizing the business while they are fighting the dispute and while they are pursuing their differences. Arbitration is another means, and has also the advantage that you can do one procedure as opposed to having to litigate in national courts in a multiplicity of countries.
Okay. Now, last year, China handled the most number of patent applications for inventions, showing the country is embracing IP as future growth engine. So how does Korea compare with China when it comes to intellectual property?
I would say that Korea is further advanced along the path towards creating a technology-based economy and a creative industry economy. China, nevertheless, is catching up quickly with everyone.
Wow.
It invests the second most in absolute terms in research and development. It is the third largest filer of international patent applications, for example, after the United States, after Japan.
Wow.
Before Germany, for example, and its growth rates are still prodigious.
Then what more does Korea need to do in order to, I guess, become a leader in IP to boost its economic competitiveness on the global stage?
Well, I'd say more of the same.
Okay.
It's on the right track. That's apparent from the results that have been achieved. Extraordinary. It's an outstanding performance. It's absolutely outstanding performance. So more of the same, but the maintenance of a strategic focus on innovation is extremely important.
Now, I know Korea has also extended the Korea Funds and Trust to WIPO since 2004. How has this helped close the gap between, I guess, developed and less developed countries in areas of IP? And what future plans does WIPO have in cooperation with Korea?
Well, Korea has been a very generous sharer of its intellectual and financial resources. So it shares the experience that it has had of a very rapid rise from actually a least developed country in the early 1960s to an advanced country. And that's a path that very, very, very few countries have taken. So it's a great sharing of experience for a start, which is invaluable. But that is backed with financial resources appropriate to the level of development of the particular beneficiary or recipient country. And then Korea has been, in the creative industries, I think, a leader in being able to communicate about this very abstract subject matter, intellectual property. Not a lot of people necessarily know what intellectual property means.
Right.
But what it means is, of course, innovation, new products, new services, new designs, branding, and all of the creative industries, music, the different business models for the distribution of music, film, broadcasting, television, and so forth. Now that's not easy to communicate as an abstract conception, and I think Korea has helped a lot by cartoons for children, the development of cartoon figures, comic books for children, and I think a series of educational materials that vulgarize, if you like, the subject matter.
We hope to see more cooperative projects between WeBo and Korea in the near future.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And that wraps it up for now, but we'll be back tomorrow with more at the same time, same place for your Business Daily. So don't forget to tune in then. Thanks for watching and goodbye.